Hello, my beautiful darlings. It is I, Nicky Alan, yet again on my beautiful show, SOULSPACE. If you are interested in anything to do with the afterlife, paranormal, angels, demons, scary stuff, anything that actually isn't on this planet, including extraterrestrials, you're at the right place. I'm telling you that now. I may be sounding a bit groggy because I've just come back from Florida. Oh my goodness, it was a blast. I just can't even go into how amazing the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference in Orlando was. If you want to catch up on everything to do with that, then please hop over to my YouTube channel because my goodness, there's some amazing stuff going on there that I'm going to be sharing with you. Anyhow, let's get back to what we're going to be talking about today. I know we've just missed Halloween. I know we've just missed Halloween. What a pain. I was still in Florida where it was lovely and warm and now it's freezing cold. We're going to be talking about what the difference is between ghosts and spirits. Now, most of you will say, well, surely that's exactly the same thing, Nikki. And potentially you could be right, because just remember, we like to add titles to paranormal things, don't we? However, my take on the difference between ghosts and spirits pretty much defines two different types of energies. I was inspired to do this because as soon as I got back from Florida, I knew that I wanted to watch Uncanny by Danny Robbins, who is just my new hero. You know, he's a very well-balanced person that likes to investigate phenomena that people report of being haunted. So I just wanted to put my slant on various things to do with hauntings. Now, let's look at ghosts. I remember my mum saying that she used to hate going down a particular alleyway in Basildon in Essex when she was young, coming back from her, I think she was a telephonist at the time, coming back from her work. And she used to put her head down because now and then she would see monks hanging from lampposts along this alleyway. Wow. And so when she told me this, rather than me recoil back and go, oh my God, that's horrible and that's really scary, mummy, I said, oh, right. I said, did they actually look at you or did they kind of jump down or did they do anything different every time you saw them? She goes, what are you talking about, Nikki? And I was only a kid then. And most probably in my little mind, I was thinking, well, were they interactive or not? And she goes, I just don't want to talk about it. It used to freak her out. Obviously, she wasn't as welcome to spirit phenomena as my other side of my paternal family, but she was still very psychic. And I always wanted to see a ghost. So I was desperate to see a ghost. And at that time, as I was growing up during my teens, I didn't really know the difference. Do you know what? After all of the connections I've had with people that have passed over, it was quite a long time till I saw my first ghost. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I was on a paranormal investigation at a place called the Lodge Public House in Rayleigh in Essex. And for anybody that's listening from Essex, you most probably know it if you live in that area. It was an old hunting lodge, and Henry VIII used to go there and stop over while he was hunting in Hockley Woods nearby. And legend has it, there's always some woman killing herself over a man, isn't there? I don't get that. I just don't get it. But anyway, legend has it that there is this ghost that presides over the lodge. She was in love with the groom, Henry VIII's groom, and he was in love with her. And what happened is that he actually ended up getting injured and killed in a hunting accident. And she was so bereft and so upset about it. She decided to take herself over and drown herself in the lake that is next to the lodge. Now, I have to say, it's pretty much a pond now, to be fair. But the water area was a lot bigger during her era in the I think it's the 16 or 1500s, isn't it? Never did history. And that's another interesting point, you know, because I like to go in completely fresh and organic on an investigation. What I don't want is knowledge of dates in history. And interestingly, I adored history at school, but my history teacher was absolutely pants. She was very aggressive, and she didn't like me very much because I was very cocky. I talked a lot. And I ended up, oh my goodness, I'm gonna see. You think I'm a good girl? I was a naughty girl, even though I was a prefect and house captain. It got to the stage. She was one of these ones that like used to throw the board rubber at you, and I just couldn't get on with her. And I ended up just sitting down the field. And actually, I once did a Ouija board with the girls in the gym changing rooms during a history lesson. Oh, we actually connected. I know I'm digressing, but we actually connected with a boy, and it turned out he was a boy that got run over outside the school. What was I thinking? My God. Anyway, the beauty of not actually attending those history lessons is that I have got no idea of dates, you know. So, for instance, and I'll tell you about Matthew Hopkins in a minute, when I started, you know, feeling and sensing dates of Matthew Hopkins and seeing it was 1500s, I had no idea about the Witch Hunter General in respect of historic geography. This is the Witchfinder General, the geography, the time scales. So when you actually bring them out and then someone says to you, oh yeah, that is the era, you think, got it, I've smashed it. Does that make sense? So, you know, I never really worry about history. I like to think, bing, I've got a date in my head and it relates to that time. Pretty much like 1452 with Julian as my guide in Trastevere, Rome. Look at the other show if you're new to this, and it tells you all about my guide and previous lives. So anyway, we're at the lodge, and my mum, after my dad died, she took a job up there, and she said things like, and this is interesting because there's a dual thing going on here. So I believe there are two types of entities, and this is what made me think, what is the difference between a ghost and a spirit? Purely because she said that a number of times when it was like, you know, everybody had gone and she was cleaning glasses or collecting them, she would see like a white flash go across the bar and then glasses just smash against the wall. So this person, you know, some people immediately think, oh my God, it's Poltergeist, so it's bad. Oh, they're going to screw the telly, they're going to die. And it's not so much that. Sometimes they just want your attention. They just want your attention. It's just, what else happened, Mum? She goes, oh, I used to see just something go into the fridge and rattle the fridge, like where the wine bottles were kept. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm thinking, so that's two types of activity going on there. That's not just a standard activity. So I was quite excited because everybody in the area and everybody that goes to the lodge knows about the ghost Henrietta, obviously, you know, who took herself over in the lake, in the pond to the side of the lodge. And, you know, over the years when I used to go there, because I lived like literally at the bottom of the road, I used to, you know, love hearing the different stories from people that used to work there. And incredibly, I became friends with the owner's daughter. So I used to stay there and I saw nothing. I was so frustrated, but I heard of, you know, the bumps in the night and the footsteps. So when I was doing my paranormal investigations, I'm thinking, oh, I can't believe this. They're letting us exclusively for the first time ever, no, we'd ever been there. We were allowed to go in and investigate the lodge overnight. I was so excited. And when we went into the pub, I'm like, come on, Henrietta, do your thing. But I was a bit confused because some people had seen what they describe as a grey lady, just literally, you know, going through walls and all the rest of it. And I'm like, well, that's not really spirit interaction. I will set you straight on all of this in a moment. Just hang on in there with me and let me explain. So during the night, it was wonderful. We had lots of interactions. There was a little child that was playing around with one of the groups. And then we had and I feel that was the entity or the interactive spirit that was throwing the glasses about. It loved to turn taps on, like the beer taps. Oh, what a waste of beer. And so we acknowledged and found out that obviously this boy was most probably the one that was doing all of the rattling and the throwing and the mucking about in the bar, which can be very reflective of a child's spirit, you know, doing minxy things, doing naughty things. But also he wanted to be acknowledged. He wanted to be found. He wanted to be seen. And the only way to do it was to move things and perhaps smash things. But you know what? It was something that I made sure that he wasn't grounded, you know, because people talk about all these grounded souls. There aren't a lot. It's very rare. But he was quite happy to just come in visitation, and he'd been there for years, years and years, this little boy. So I'm thinking, right, well, perhaps that isn't Henrietta. Perhaps that's what everybody says is the ghost of Henrietta, this little boy. Anyway, what happens is, I think I went out with my brother, Richard Morley, who's another great medium, and there was a couple with us. And I said, look, let's go out on the grounds and see if we can get any EVP, which is electronic voice phenomena. And it can be any voices from, any celestial being, any entity, anything you want can be recorded just on your phone. You don't need any span-dangled equipment, really. So we all had our phones on, and I said, come on, let's go and do some EVP down by the pond where Henrietta drowned herself. And I'm feeling really disappointed at this point because we haven't seen her. And there's so many, haunted stories of this ghost. So I'm standing by the pond, and I'm like feeling a bit disillusioned. I'm not going to lie, because I really wanted to see her. Now, one of my pet hates on a investigation is people using torches. Oh my goodness, it does my head in, because if you get exposed to any superficial light on an investigation, it is scientific fact that your pupils, your retinas, cannot create any proper vision till about 20 minutes after it's been exposed to light right in your eyeballs. So that means if you do see anything during those 20 minutes, it can't be proven as, a spirit sighting, because it could just be a flashback in your retinas. So I'm a real, stickler for that. UV light, absolutely fine, but just don't be using your torches. So anyway, I've looked up to what is now the restaurant. Now, this is an extended part of the original building of the Lodge Public House. And it's kind of like a carvery, I think, now. And the direct path leads from the old building to the pond. And we'd come away from the pond a little bit. And I looked up and I went, I don't believe this. Now, that I use fluff instead of the F word. I went, for fluff's sake, Rich. I said, what is wrong with these people? Why have they got all their torches on? And there's this massive, glowing, blue-white figure. And I'm like, who's that? I said, who's got a torch on themselves? And I'm getting the ump, right? So I'm like, oi, I said, turn your torch off. Can you hear me? And then the figure goes through a wall. I know there's a wall there. You can see the wall, and the figure goes straight through the wall and comes out the other side. I'm like, oh my God, it's Henrietta. I was absolutely wetting my pants with excitement. And we looked up, and literally she walked through the wall, and then she walked through the second outer wall, and then boof, disappeared. She was obviously making her way towards the lake. And I know that if she was interactive like the boy, she would have either turned around or some sort of energy would have stopped or halted, because I was running towards a banshee, right? I was running towards that window, shouting and trying to, interact with the energy. And she just glowed and floated right the way through those walls, completely oblivious of anything, towards the pond. And I don't know what guide it was or what voice in my head said, that's a ghost. I'm like, right, okay then. I don't understand what that means. Because I used to call spirits and ghosts the same thing. And it wasn't until, and I may have mentioned this in a previous podcast, it wasn't until I was going with my friends. We stayed in a beautiful hotel. I can't remember the blinking name of it. It was just near Wembley. We were watching Take That. And we came back and it was really late. And we convinced the night porter to let's have a nightcap in the bar. Now, it's all completely changed, this hotel now. I did do an article on it in a magazine. And it's completely changed now. And I literally come out of the bar because I needed to pop to the loo, go to the restroom, because like our American cousins, look at me, I'm like bilingual now, darlings. So you came out of the bar and you went up these huge, lovely, beautiful, wide stairs up to the toilet, and then you literally come back out, of course. So I've gone up these stairs, beautiful big banisters, really wide stairs, and it's all the lights are on, all the lights are totally on. So it's not dim or dark or anything like that. It's like the foyer of the hotel, then the stairs leading up to this mezzanine where obviously the toilets are. So go to the loo, come out, just about to go down the stairs and I absolutely freeze. And I've never seen anything like it in all my life. In bright light under a huge crystal chandelier, not dark at all, is a full apparition of a bride. I can see every single feature of her. She's got literally a Victorian bride. She's got the most beautiful lace veil hanging over her shoulders, a corseted lace dress. Her face is sublime. She's really, really young, really oval shaped face. And she's holding a really small, very modest bouquet of flowers, like wild flowers in her hands. And she's walking along the hallway. Now, obviously, she's floating, but obviously walking. I couldn't see her feet. I could just see the bottom hem of her dress. I'm like, oh my God, I've got no camera. I nearly became a ghost that night, or a spirit, because I ran down those stairs like a nutter because I'm thinking, oh my God, oh my God. It's the first time I've seen a fully manifested, ghost, if you like. Not a spirit person that I can talk to, a ghost. So I'm like, she's from the Victorian era. I need to speak to her. So I've ran down like hell. But she's then gone in and turned right into a breakfast room, gone through the door. And so the breakfast room's dark. And I couldn't find the bloody switch. I thought, sod the switch. So I've slammed this door open and I'm running up behind her. And she literally just then turns right and goes through a wall. Now, this wall obviously never existed at that point. And obviously, she was on her way to a wedding. And then that's when I heard the voice again, that's a ghost. And it just clicked in my head. I thought, wow, okay. So what do you mean by that? So in the end, I sat, we went back to our room in the hotel and I just laid there at night and listened to what they had to tell me about ghosts. Darlings, just to let you know, if you go to my website, NICKYALAN.co.uk, a pop-up will pop up. Yes, it'll pop up. And it will give you the opportunity to join my subscribe tribe, where you will receive newsletters. These give you loads of personal anecdotes of what's happened in the week. I also love to give you giveaways and give you inspiration, spiritual talk, and also a beautiful little angel card reading at the end. It really is building into a wonderful community, just the newsletter in itself. Don't forget, I'm on YouTube as well, where I give you loads of different videos to help you in your spiritual development and awareness of the angels. And just an exclusive for you, there'll be a new Channeling Heaven program where I shall be literally going up to the Crystal Palace and bringing direct messages to you from the angel realms and the spirit world to help humanity. And on top of that, if you really do want to take spiritual development a stage further, have a look at my shop where I provide many guided meditations for your development. We have the 10-hour tarot course, the Prism Living spiritual development course. We have the QR tarot cards, which are wonderful, and loads of other stuff, including my books if you'd like a signed version. So pop over to the shop area of my website where you can just delight yourself in buying all sorts of wonderful spiritual things. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. And I look forward to connecting with you both in my tribe on YouTube and through my newsletter. Ghosts energy reprint. Okay. So for instance, if you keep going to the door, open the door, going back again, open the door, going back to it again, you create a residual energy that can literally stay stuck in time. Okay. So for instance, if you pass over when you're old and someone takes on your house, they may see a whisper or an imprint of you doing something normal. This is why we get so many, it's such a common thing where you'll hear someone pull the chain in the toilet and there's nobody there and everybody freaks out and thinks, oh my God, but it literally is just a sound, an action and a replay of what someone used to do. I've even had a report of someone that used to go into their bathroom. There's a man just sitting on the loo reading a newspaper, totally oblivious of the people walking into the bathroom. And it's just a reprint. It's no interaction. He hasn't looked at the person. He hasn't acknowledged him. And then he just disappears. And so it is an imprint. It's a replay that's held in the ether of a habit or something that was momentous to the person at that time. And so what was happening, I realized with Henrietta, she was walking to her doom. That walk that she does through the the restaurant area was her walking to her, ducking herself in the pond and not coming back out again. And this bride, for her, I don't know, because obviously I can interact with her, whether she felt she was walking to her doom and didn't want to get married, or she was so happy that the imprint of her joy and the imprint of the momentous thing that was about to take place took place. And when I went into the bar and said, "Oh my God, I've just seen a bride," he goes, "Oh yeah, we've heard of that before." He goes, "Yeah." And he was so nonchalant about it. I'm like, "I've just seen a full apparition of a Victorian bride in bright daylight." Well, bright, lights. I just couldn't believe it. And so that's when I started to discern the difference between ghosts and spirit. And that's when I, used to speak to people and say, "Was it ghost or spirit?" And they go, "Well, it's the same, is it?" No, it's not. It's absolutely not. And so, this is where the grey ladies come in, the stage 4 manifestation of a spirit person, where they're just gliding across to, perhaps they're going to their breakfast, perhaps they're going to their doom, perhaps they're just cleaning up the house. But they're literally just a residual imprint, which can be visual, it can be audible, so you can hear it sometimes. I remember when I was sitting in Lupton House, which is a very old house, which I had a previous life in, another story, in Devon, and I was going up just to water my plants that I had there when I was homeless. And all my plants I managed to grab and keep in there. And I heard, "Hello." And I'm like, "Hi." And it was so clear. "Hello." I'm like, "Hello, yeah, I'm here." Yeah. And then I heard loads of conversation. Following day, exactly the same thing. And when I realised, when I looked at the time, it was exactly the same time. It was 2 hellos and then it was conversation. And I knew that this was an audible imprint in time. And I used to hear trolleys rattling along and people talking, like the chambermaids going around the rooms. And I realised again that they were imprints of what, it's a bit like Downton Abbey, imprints of what the maids did. Because every time I went to the location, I heard the sound and said, "Would you like to speak? Would you like to interact?" It went dead. Or it continued oblivious of me. The sound continued. And I thought, they've got no idea. This is a reprint. There is no live active spirit here that is creating this phenomena. It is a replay of something that took place in time. Now, let's get on to the subject of spirits. Now, I remember the first time, obviously, I saw the first spirit, which was my dad, and he looked at me in my eyes and he put his thumb up and said, "I'm okay, Nicky," 2 days after he died in a road accident, as most of you well know if you follow me here and on YouTube and everywhere else. So he was a spirit person. So what's the difference between that and a ghost? Held within us, and this is another interesting thing I spoke to Julianus, my guide, about. What is the difference between your soul and your spirit, right? And he's really good because he knows I like to deliver it in layman's terms to you guys, because if it gets too deep into, "Yeah, man, well, the frequency and the light, kind of blends with you, and then the frequency vibrates," it's like, "Oh, shut up. Just tell me how it works." Just really simply. So, so basically he said, your soul is a recording of every incarnation, interaction, behavior, and memory that you have going right from the beginning of when your soul was formed. Now, don't ask me this question. I haven't got a clue, because I was kept trying to say, "Well, how does the soul create?" And it's just like, it just does. It just goes back to too much to them talking about light, refractions, slips in time, slips in the universe. I'm like, "Oh, do you know what? People don't need to know that. Let's just say that we get created, okay, and leave it at that." So, because I literally just saw lights and frequencies, the sound frequencies and different planets. And I'm like, no, that's just too much for my lovely listeners. Let's just get on with it and talk about stuff that's easily explainable and understandable. And for me, to be fair. So I literally think about spirits, think about the soul, and I think, right, okay, so the soul kind of encases every living memory, thought, process, consciousness. And it's like bedpost notches of incarnations. It is the base of everything we know. The spirit is like our personality, right? It's like our personality. So if you think about it, a soul, and they can interact. So when they both go up to spirit world, they are as one. They are as one, okay? But when we are on the earth plane, this is the easiest way to layer it, okay, to describe it. When we're on the earth plane, we have our own inner consciousness, our own belief systems, our own ego systems that we hold within. And we project a personality, don't we? So if you read my book, Me, Myself and I, you'll know that I projected a personality of, Detective Morley. And then there was the persona of Nicky Alan. Now I'm just me. That is it. And that's the most freeing, beautiful statement I can make to you. Because now that everything has gone boom again and I feel like I'm getting back in the saddle, it's completely me loving myself and loving you and doing it the right way. And that's exactly what all of this has been about, all of my journey. If you don't know what I'm talking about, either listen to the other podcasts or get the book. Shameless plug. So literally your spirit is your personality for this incarnation, or it's the second layer to your soul. It's the outer layer. Okay. So when you go up to the spirit world and you come down to speak to a medium and that medium needs to give information to the person, rather than connect with the soul, which that person's not going to know about, because obviously you can go into previous lives. I have done that before, but let's just keep it real with just spirit and ghosts, right? So what happens is that part of the soul disconnects from that soul being up in the spirit world, and the spirit comes down, the spirit of you comes down to interact with the medium so that the personality comes through, the imagery comes through, the memories, what job you did, because the soul doesn't care what job it did. It's been around for like hundreds of years. So the spirit detachment comes down and that is what interacts with you. Okay. So when I'm doing a paranormal investigation, and one of these was huge, I went to a place, I can't even remember the bloody name of it now. We had to keep it secret. It was a big manor house. We walked in straight away, you could hear children giggling. And so the first thing I said to myself, and you could hear them skipping and footsteps. And the first thing I said was, are they spirit or are they grounded here? Have they got their soul still here? Or is it just residual? But then I heard it in a different room. So I thought, hang on a minute, that's not just them skipping through the hallway. They seem interactive. When they started pinching me and pulling my clothes, I'm like, they're interactive because they're physically connecting with me, knowing I'm there, acknowledging my energy, my soul and my spirit encased in a human body, and they're interacting with it. The same when I was at Ilfracombe Manor. I used to take people there for the weekend, best paranormal investigation going. But I think over the years of having corporate events there, it's gone a bit rubbish. That's what I hear. I don't know. And, we had knocking interactions. So, hello, do you want to talk to us? Once a yes, bang. Okay. Did you used to live here? Bang, bang. Da, da, da. So you have interactive. So they are sitting, listening to you, intelligently replying to your requests. And you may have seen it on my YouTube channel where the little boy that I was connecting with, when I was doing a reading for his grandparents, he was getting so frustrated, little bugger. He was getting so frustrated because I couldn't get his name. And I'm saying, I know that it begins with, I said, I'm sure, is it? And I'm thinking, is it Andrew, isn't it? And he scratched A on my hand. Cheeky. I went, oh, it's definitely Andrew. Look, I've got an A on my hand. They went a bit white, I'm not going to lie. So, I was like, cheeky little bugger. He could have just written it on a bit of paper. And then I obviously had my darling little spirit boy, Daniel, that was in my house. He's mostly still there now in Hadley. And he decided to draw all over my tables using my niece's pen. Yeah, nice. And she said Daniel did it. She was only little. And then my nephew came about another weekend and said Daniel when he was sitting in the bath. So they both identified the same spirit and calling his name because obviously this spirit boy came and saw them. So I check, first of all, with an interactive spirit to make sure they're not grounded in the ether. Grounded means that they and their soul are still intact and are still stuck down here for whatever reason. Okay. So it could be that they're scared of going up, or they've got another overwhelming spirit, or there's untold misery down there that they're stuck in. You do get that sometimes where there's an overwhelming spirit that used to be their father or something that's grounded with them and won't let them go up and they're too scared. Other times they've perhaps done atrocities in their life. They're too scared of judgment, religion, whatever it may be. Some of them stay grounded. As I say, it's very, very rare. So always check they're not grounded. These children, going back to that mansion house, they were just with joy that there was someone that walked in. They'd come back in. It used to be a workhouse. They'd come back down just to, muck about and then go back up. There were a couple that were grounded, and I've never known an experience like it where we opened a vortex and sent them up there. And you might think, oh yeah, whatever. But oh my God, it was the most emotional thing I've ever gone through. Again, I'm glad it's rare, because I do not want to hear that there are spirit people connected to their souls roaming around this ether. That makes me feel really sad. That's why we must always respect paranormal investigations. We must always respect hauntings to find out if it is a ghost that's just not even there. There's no soul or spirit there. It's just a reprint or a replay. Or is there a spirit and soul there that needs to talk to us? And the thing where, oh yeah, it said, do you want us to get out? Do you want us to leave? You're like, oh, shut up, will you? I know I've mentioned this in my Evil Spirits podcast, but it's like, no, don't say that. So, hey, how are you? What are you doing here? Do you want to speak to us? Have a chat and find out the story. Because most spirit people that are interactive with you want to talk to you. And that's either for help or just to acknowledge there is an afterlife and we want to prove it for you. Not get out. That's so rare. Oh my God, these paranormal. Oh yeah, they want us to get out. Yeah, they don't want us here. Oh, shut up. Do behave. Oh my God, it makes me want to kick the telly. So anyway, spirit people will come down and do their thing. So they are spirit. Okay, they're interactive. They're aware of the ether. They're aware of your voice, your behavior, your movements, and where you are. And they can interact with you. They can answer you, just like they can when I'm talking to a spirit person that comes down from the spirit world. Okay, or it doesn't come down. Conjure them. We don't bring them in from another planet or another state of dimension. They're already with you. And this is what I always say at my evenings of mediumship. It wasn't that your brother, sister, mum, dad didn't come through. They're standing right next to you. It's just down to time and matching energies to get that message through to you. So know that they're always with you. So take that back with you guys. They're always with you. Talk to them. Open your hearts to them. They're there. And how it works is, with a spirit person is that for some reason they have a connection to a place, memory, time, whatever it may be, geographical location, and they just feel fond for that particular incarnation and come down and visit it. It's as simple as that. And so, we come to Matthew Hopkins. If you're interested in looking, you'll see it right now. The Birdbrook haunting, where he literally drew blood. He was gouging the back out of one of the people that was sitting next to me at a seance in a pub in Halstead in Essex. And it turns out that we were right in the middle of the witch finder general's stomping ground, and that all the witches had been dumped and buried behind us. Well, supposed witches, load of rubbish, serial killer, innit? That's what all they were. And so it all kicked off. Watch the video. So many emails from people saying you just scared the crap out of me. But it's real, And he's a grounded, vengeful spirit who's just, reenacting and connecting with us. The same as he did when he was on the earth plane. God knows why he hasn't gone up, because we're going back to the 1500s there, 16th century. But, I can't answer the ways and wherefores for why spirit come down, why they stay in a location, why some are grounded. You just have to go with each one as you find them, to be honest with you. But the difference is spirit people are still your people. Spirit people that come and speak to me and give messages to you have just detached their soul that's still residing in heaven. I know it's hard to understand and believe. They come down and they tell you all the beautiful things to identify themselves. Okay, job, occupation, when they died, how they died, they're wearing in their coffin, what was left with them in their coffin, blah, 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 blah. Okay, they prove their identity to me. They are interactive. They are not ghosts. They are spirits. Okay, and literally the ghosts are totally oblivious of you. They'll do the same thing every single day. The monks, the grey ladies, they will just literally, the brides, they will do the same thing every day. And eventually, after hundreds of years, that beautiful reprint that's held in the ether will fade, and vanish. And that's why we get the transparent grey ladies, the transparent man with the top hat on, because it's just fading in time. And perhaps the next reprint will be someone looking at their iPhone. Walking through the hallway, do you know what I mean? So you can imagine the future. Oh my God, I just saw someone looking at their iPhone. And that's what's going to happen. So I hope I've made it clear what the difference is between the two. And as I always say, please, if you get anything that goes bump in the night, 99% of the time, it's going to be a family member trying to get your attention. So don't get that scared until things start going wrong. And what I mean by that is if you go back to my old podcast, go to my YouTube channel and just type in, nasty spirits, evil energy, then you'll know that there's something wrong. But most of the time, it's someone that used to live there. I've had my old people that used to live in my house when I was in Somerset. She smoked like a chimney. It used to stink in there, and I'm not going to stop smoking in my house, So please don't panic. Most of the time, it's going to be loved ones coming down saying, I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. I love you. So till the next time, my darlings, I am very much ramping up to getting some fantastic guests on, but bear with me. I've just landed down into the world of Nicky Alan. An unprecedented demand has hit after being at the GSIC conference and being on Alex Ferrari's fantastic podcast. So just bear with me because I've got some super duper people coming along to speak with you. Until the next time, loving keeping it real. I'll speak to you soon. It's me, Nicky Alan, signing off.